Oh, Tapu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, Harun Nefer. May Buddha bless you. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu with another exciting video for you. In this video, I want to give you an update on my hospital stay. Before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. And if you're looking to take your spiritual knowledge to the next level, you can scroll down below, click on one of the ebooks, download them today and start reading. If you want to go a little further, you can become a Patreon supporter and support us for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you. You can unsubscribe anytime. You get exclusive access to instructional videos on the esoteric, on how to breathe, proper breathing, meditation, how to summon spirits, how to hypnotize yourself, self-hypnosis to get rid of overeating and things of that nature, and how to work with the oracles, divination, to predict what's going to happen to you in your future. So, become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So you're going to have to excuse me, I'm not my normal self. I just got out the hospital, which was a very interesting experience where my nurse and I were arguing with each other. I always argue with the nurses there, you know. They always make jokes about how pretty I am, and I kid you, they always do. And I always make jokes about how incompetent they are, you know. And I often get into this mode where, you know, like I'll try to tell them their job. And a lot of times I know what I'm talking about. Like, for just to give you a case in point, she goes, "When was your last bowel movement?" I said, "Oh, 3 days ago." She goes, "Oh, that's not good. We've got to give you something for that." I said, "Okay, well, given the fact that, you know, I'm on a no food regimen, which is by my doctor for the past 3 days, it makes sense that I wouldn't have had a bowel movement because I haven't been eating as per doctor's instructions." She goes, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." I'm like, just like, God, Jesus, I have to like educate you guys on everything. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. So, so it's been a road trip. I've been not doing too great. And of course, we know, if you watch my channel, you know a little bit about me. You know that many times this is caused by myself. I take a lot of herbs and stuff, and I'm always trying to get to the duat, or what I now call the deep range, where I go into the underworld to communicate with spirits and interdimensional beings. And to do that, you have to put your body into a specific type of a shock that it's not, I won't say near death, but it's kind of similar to that, to where your consciousness then gets released from the physical being, the Geb, your Merkaba, and then you travel to these different realms, you know. And I often do this, and it can take a toll on your body. So I actually, it started about a couple of weeks ago, and I thought actually I had something that was very bad. Food wasn't good. I had food poisoning. I had some soy chickens and some salad, and it lasted for a couple of days. And then after I started talking to doctors and nurses, they said, well, food poisoning doesn't last over three days or so, so you've got something else. So I kind of suspected what was going on because I was taking a lot of the herbs, trying to get into the deep state of trance. You understand what I mean? You gain wisdom of the Akashic records, bring that stuff down and start rocking it, baby. And then I started seeing and hearing things. And I was like, okay, this is not good. So I spoke to a doctor, and I was like, I'm taking some of these herbs. I want to make sure he's okay. And he looks, and he goes, whoa, this is going to cause you to see and hear things. I said, oh, yeah, well, that ship has sailed. I said, I'm already there. I'm already there. Now, there are two good films that I really like that really set me off on this journey. One is called Flatliners. Very good film if you get a chance to check it out. It's about these young doctors experimenting with death, near-death experiences, and they subject themselves to a near-death experience, the NDE, and they realize that once they come back, they're changed people. They have a new perspective on life, but also they brought something back with them, and it's not good. So let's take a quick look at just a clip, because I think it's very germane to what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? And this is with Keith Sutherland, and this is called Flatliners from the year 1990. Check it out.
Flatline.
Getting smaller. Start filming. Let me defib him. He's dead. Isn't that enough? Let me try and bring him back. Just watch the door. Excuse me. I don't want to ruin anybody's evening, but are we in the room with a dead man? Oh my God.
1 minute to go.
Start filming.
Seconds to go.
Okay, here we go. Let's heat him up.
Mm-hmm. 20 seconds at 89, 90.
Standing by with sodium bicarbonate. Charging the paddles. Charge.
All right, so that's Flatliners, the 1990 movie where we have these young doctors trying to experiment with near-death experiences to find out what it's like on the other side. But in ancient Kemetic culture, we call this the duat. And there are many facets and layers to the duat. And also, when you start dealing with astral projection, it's not you're not going into the death experience. You're actually traveling through different dimensions. And modern science tells us there's 12 dimensions, but we know there's more than 12 dimensions. Okay, so another great movie that I love that dealt with this as well from a very scientific point of view called Altered States. And this is when young scientists was dealing with ayahuasca and other psychotropic drugs to take him deep into the recesses of his subconscious mind, back to caveman days. This experience what it's like, and even travel into the future with his consciousness, because he knows there's no such thing as the past or the present or the future. Everything is collapsed into the singularity, which we call the 5D. So let's take a quick look at this, and then I'm just kind of like setting the stage so you know exactly what I was trying to do. Maybe unsuccessfully. Let's check it out.
In the basement of one of the country's leading medical schools, Dr. Edward Jessup, candidate for a Nobel Prize, is conducting the most dangerous experiment in the history of science. And the subject of the experiment is himself.
Ask him what kind of an experience I can expect. is deafening.
Just blacked out.
What happens during these blackout periods is you get the feeling of phenomenal acceleration, like you're being shot out over millions, billions of years. Time simply obliterates.
You guys are shooting up with an untested drug that stacks up in the brain and works the nucleus of the cell, and you don't call that dangerous.
I'm asking you to put the experiment off until we understand a little more in order to minimize the risk. I'm really frightened. We could be screwing around with this whole genetic structure. Now, how do we stop this?
We've got millions of years stored away in that computer bank we call our minds. We have got trillions of dormant genes in us, our whole evolutionary past. Perhaps I've tapped into that.
He may be on to something that is beyond our own comprehension. Now, because I believe him, I want this thing stopped.
The hell was that? You okay?
If you love me, Eddie, get fired!
Altered states.
All right, so that gives you an idea of what happens when you start experimenting and getting into the duat and all of that. And this is precisely what our ancestors were doing. They had mastered this. They had safety protocols in place. They knew how to go deep down without going too far, that they would not come back and things like that. So this is the difference between when you are just plain spiritual and actually doing spiritual. And then you get to the thing where we call is the template reality, where you actually have the ability to manipulate reality, physical reality, because you will, before you get that deep as what you saw in altered states and flatline, you will actually come to a realm that would allow you to manipulate your reality, to change things for your better. So that is something that we all can reach in a very safe way. And this is something we should be looking into and working with. And in our ancestors, when there was particular things that happened in society, like crime, sickness, they could go into the inner planes, or dua, however we want to call it. And they could work with the entities that govern certain sicknesses and certain negative behaviors in people, and they could correct that from the inner planes. So there was no need to petition Washington for more legislation, more laws. 3 strikes, you're out. Our ancestors knew how to rectify all of these things by going into a deep state of consciousness, or subconsciousness, going past the alpha and the theta states to get deep to the delta states. And then communicate, because entities govern certain things in our lives. There are entities that govern certain illnesses. There's entities that govern certain wealth principles. There's entities that govern certain love interests. There's entities that govern certain luck. There's entities that govern certain cars, govern certain transportations like planes. There's entities that govern certain environments like the desert, the sea. There's entities that govern certain communication with animals like dolphins, who are aliens, by the way. And so in order for us to correct those things, or maybe to find out, like if we just have a bunch of whales beaching themselves, you know, marine biologists going to like rack their brains out trying to figure out what's wrong with these whales. The sonar is not working. But our ancestors would go into the duat, communicate with the spirit that governs the whales, and ask the spirit what's wrong with the whales, and then do corrective measures, do a ritual. That's how we would do it, you know. And in times of war, when Kemet would fight other states, we would go into the duat and find out what war god would give us favor and give sacrifices and appease that war god, and then we would be victorious in war. So this is how we approach things in life. It wasn't always, though, we had to have an injection of a certain medication, or that we had to take a pill or something, or that we had to lock somebody up. There was a non-linear way to deal about it, which was based not on Cartesian logic, but was based on holistic thinking and holistic logic and holistic brain thinking. Because not everything can be corrected from a one-to-one relationship. And that's the mistake we get involved in, because we've been so indoctrinated into Western science psychology that we don't know any other way of dealing with a particular issue than just to attack it head on. And that's not the best way to go about things. You know what I mean? And we don't understand the depths of consciousness and how deep that goes and how powerful it is and what it can really do. Because that knowledge was lost. It was actually eradicated when they tried to bring down high cultures of antiquity. Keep that in mind. You know, but I also want you to understand that this is nothing to be played with when you start getting into this type of medicine and going deep into trance, because you have to be prepared for it, because you do have certain things trapped within you. And if you haven't successfully dealt with that, it's going to come out. A lot of people are very vain, ego-centered, greedy, and those things do come out once you start going deep into the duat. And they become stronger. You know what I mean? Very, very strong. To where it starts to control you, which was the story of Asar and Aset, where Aset is the actual animal spirit. And that animal spirit was fighting to control Haru. And Haru learned from Tahuti how to open not only his third eye, but how to dominate his emotions and to control himself. That's why Haru is the symbol of the will, being centered, and that's succumbing to these vices of the world. You know, the world is not all about pleasure, or seeking of pleasure, seeking of material goods. That's the hole you can't fill. The world is about understanding where are you going to reach your level of peace and then maintaining that. Where is my peace at? Your peace is never, never in anything material. It's not. Your peace is going to be your state of mind. And if you get to that level to understand that that's your peace level, hold on to it. And it will be with you for the rest of your life. But if you're looking for the girl with the fat booty, big breasts, the guy with the swag, and you think that's going to bring you the peace and love that you want, you're sadly mistaken. That's a big setup for a fall, as in the tower. Because those things are trendy, and they don't stand the test of time, and they're culturally biased. Do you understand? You're going to have to let go of what you consider to bring you happiness. Let it go. Well, I think this woman can bring me happiness. I think this man could bring me happiness. I think this panda, and I love pandas, can bring me happiness. But no matter how much this panda chases me around for a hug, that's not going to bring me happiness. The happiness that I'm seeking is going to have to come from within. And you're going to have to search for that. You're going to have to say, what is there that I need, that I actually, in truth, don't need, that will bring me peace and fulfillment? You understand what I just said? What is it actually that I don't need that will bring me peace and fulfillment? Because realistically, peace is no thingness. Peace is the true nature of God. God is not compelled by any emotion. God does not have emotions. If God had those type of human frailties and emotions, we would be in big trouble, because God would be pissed at us and destroy the planet. But God is at peace. You can't curse God out. You can't turn your back on God. God will always love you. And God is always centered. God is never, ever influenced. So you have to look and say, where's my center? Where's my peace? And then hold on to that and learn to have a relationship with that. When you have a relationship with that, it builds what we call as synaptic connections in the brain, meaning that you're so used to diversions, meaning we have attention deficit disorder. So the first time that you find what you think is your peace, it's not going to feel fulfilling. It's not, because you have trained your brain, the synaptic connections, to get stimuli from external motivations. So you have to retrain your brain that when you think of this center and this peace, that's your happy place, that's your center. And then keep revisiting that. And before you know it, you'll let go of everything that's transitory. You'll let go of everything that's here today, gone tomorrow, and you'll focus on that which is eternal, that which is has no beginning and has no end, which is peace and love and tranquility and nirvana and zazen. This society is bent on making us satanic in nature, making us consumers, making us care only about how we look, the latest products. This society doesn't care about what's going to keep you going in the long haul. It wants to make you insane because it always tries to tell you that if you don't get a butt injection, no guy will look at you. If you're not 6 feet tall, no girl will be interested in you. This society keeps lying to you, and it's going to do it over and over again. Lourdes, just start meditating. Just start meditating. Meditate on what makes you feel positive and replay that over and over again. Keep meditating on that over and over again. Because you're conditioning your psyche to keep producing that serotonin, those positive vibes. You have to train yourself to keep producing that chemical. We produce like cortisol, like stress hormones, too much because we think of worst case scenarios all the time, and that stresses us out. And then we keep visualizing it, and then before we know it, because we're reality generating machines, we visualize a negative outcome, which materializes a negative outcome. In my meditations, I have an overabundance of visualizations to where I see things that I want, and they come to fruition because I don't leave things to trance. Every day, I'm visualizing, well, what do I want today? Well, it would be great if I get a free meal today. That would be necha, which is sweet. Well, what do I want today? It would be great if everyone I met today was nice. Well, what do I want today? It would be great if I could find somebody who needed it and I gave them $10 and they were able to buy a meal. But in giving them $10, I'm not shorting myself. I'll get that $10 back somehow. It would be great if I can get a friend a job as a project manager today. And lo and behold, that happened. So these are the things where you are designing your future. You're designing your life by merely keep focusing on those things that make you feel good, make you positive. And there's nothing wrong with using what we call an NLP anchors. Now, what is an anchor? An anchor is, for example, I'm with a cute, sexy Latina, and we're having intercourse, right? We're having intercourse. And just as I'm about to climax, I switch to visualization. And then I see my family doing prosperous, getting the new home that they want. And that energy of the intercourse then becomes transferred over into a visualization that's going to help someone in need. Because sex, Kundalini energy, is the basis of magic. When you become sexually excited about something, and you hold in your mind something that you want, like a car, you're galvanizing energetic forces. You're galvanizing forces, subatomic particles, to bring you that thing, actually to shift you to that reality so you'll have it. Mike, let's do a broadcast on the medicine. That would be great to share with everyone what's really good to take and safe to help people to get to those next levels. Because we are not being taught the right things about how to control our mind, how to manifest things, you know? And once you become proficient at manifesting, it's like a snowball effect. It gets bigger and bigger, and you are become a master at it, of manifesting things, because you know the secret formula. I visualize, I hold a type of excited sexual energy for the visualization. I dwell on it enough. I have faith and belief that it will come to fruition. I don't doubt. And then I wait in expectancy to see it happen. Wash, rinse, and repeat. And watch your life change. Excuse me, I gotta take my medication. This is why you should always be focusing on positive things, because what the ruling elite does is they flood your mind with very, very negative satanic things, and you're not aware of it because they implant it deep into your subconscious mind. It gets implanted so deep, it could take you years to realize it's there. And they do it on purpose because when you die, it comes out. They want it to come out when you die. That keeps the cycle of karma, you reincarnating over and over again. You see, the way that you become an honored ancestor, a spirit guide, is that you flood your psyche with positive things, so that when you die, your experience is positive. It's full of happy things. But if you're a person who is gripped by demons, gripped by satanic forces, when you die, those forces will come at you and make you their slave, and you'll be reincarnated on this planet again and again and again as a slave. Do you understand? You are supposed to have positive thoughts, and that comes from being Haru. Haru is the filter of the thoughts. Haru is the will. The will filters thoughts so they can't come at you. Oh, satanic stuff? No. I'm filtering that out, and it's not going to be in my sphere of awareness. But when your Haru is messed up, and you have the Haru and the Wajet or the Nekabet, then the thoughts come in and get programmed into your deep, dark recesses of your subconscious mind. Ooh, that's a bad one. So let us look at the 30th hexagram straight up for your reading, okay? So in regards to relationship, the 30th hexagram is a very good hexagram. It talks about clarity of mind. It's a Haru hexagram. It talks about clarity, being in the forefront, shining. In relation to love, it says, if you're looking for someone, they will come. Love, both sides are passionate, but rash and impulsive. Actions will lead to failure. So be careful with that, all right? So let me say it again. In love, both sides are passionate, but rash and impulsive. Actions will lead to failure. And if you want to know the book I'm using, this is the book, The Pocket I-ching. Okay. Now, that's exactly what your Madunata reading is saying, because you've got Wajet, Tem, Ma'at. What is Wajet? Wajet is energy where you're just doing things, hot energy. It's like, oh, I'm just going to do this, do that without really a lot of thought. Then you got your Nekabet, Tem, Ma'at. Whatever comes your way, you just go and do it. And then what's the last one? Haru, Tem, Chaez. No willpower, no planning, no thoughts behind what you're doing. Will is a Haru. Tem is a young boy who won't listen to his parents, won't listen to people. He thinks Will, Haru is the Will saying, I know what's best, even though I'm only 15. I know, I'm going to do what I know. That's why Haru has to go before Tahuti to learn. You understand? A Tem Haru is someone just not listening. There's a lot of Tem Haru young men in schools today who won't listen to their teachers. Thank God I'm mentoring a lot of people in my project management PM program who had Tem Haru, but they switched it to switched it to Haru to Ma'at. They're very, very attentive. They listen to advice and they follow. Very good. They you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Oh, thank you. We would thank you for sharing your experience, Mike. It would be an honor. Yes, an honor. Please, people, when you get a chance, my 14 kids and my 3 wives would appreciate it if you would donate to the channel. You do super chat. Okay. So I want you to understand the powers that you have if you only put them to use. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna take time for those powers to flower. You're not gonna sit down one day and meditate on getting $500 and it's just gonna appear. It's gonna take some time for your subconscious mind to accept the notion that certain things like that can happen, because you've been conditioned to believe that they cannot happen when they can. Do you understand? It's not a matter of, see, quantum mechanics or quantum physics tells us this. We must understand this. All things are possible. All things are possible. What you should be asking is, what is the probability of it happening? You're walking in the desert, and what is the probability of you finding a small oasis where you can get some clean water? That's pretty good. What is the probability of you walking in the desert and finding a vintage wine worth $10,000? Not likely. So you see, one is more probable than the other. But you have been convinced that neither can happen. That's a lie. So you have to condition the mind to believe that whatever you as a God declares must come to fruition. That is the law. That is the law. If I say that you are going to get a man who's a sexy guy with 6-pack abs and he's 6'2", and if you believe it, it's going to manifest. Now, when is the question? Will it manifest this year, next year? It depends, but it will manifest. And just because you don't see it this year doesn't mean the magic does not work. No, that's your problem. That's your head messing with you. Magic works, or else we wouldn't be here. Magic works, or you wouldn't see the TV you have. You wouldn't see the apartment you have, the food on your table. All that was brought about by magic. I'm going to say it again. All that was not brought about by the hands of man. It was brought about by magic. Because how do we know? Because quantum mechanics tells us reality does not exist apart from the observer. There is no reality apart from you. You, as the observer, creates the reality before you. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand? So when you think about, I need $10,000, and you are meditating on that, and you're visualizing that, and you're injecting with very positive emotion, whether it be sexual emotion or just excitement, the only question is not if it will happen, it's when. When? And then that was, we get into the likelihood of probabilities. If you're walking in a desert and you're asking for $10,000 to just appear, that's a high probability that it won't. If you're walking in a desert and your cell phone suddenly goes off, and it's a text message from Bank of America saying that you got to deposit $10,000, well, that's a high probability that that can happen. You see what I'm saying? You see it. You follow what I'm talking about. And then comes the permission slips. Sometimes we need things to help us to believe that our powers can work outside of ourselves. So we may need a crystal, a magic wand, a powder, an oil as an assistant, as a permission slip to give us the belief and faith. You see, men like Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes are big con men. They're corrupt criminals. Let me say it again. Men like T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar and Frederick Casey Price and his son, they're all con men. They're criminals. You don't need them to get to God. You don't need them to be spiritual. You don't need them to get money. Creflo Dollar is asking for money for a jet to come from here to go for where he's at to New York. He's a crook. He's stealing the money out of impoverished black people, poor black people. He's worth $27 million. No one should be worth that much money. And not teaching every individual how to use the power that's within them. He doesn't even know the Bible. So how do I know that these people, these pimp pastor ministers are crooks and charlatans? Well, I go to the oracle and I ask God. I don't just think about it on my own mind. I don't say, hey, he don't seem legit. I go to God. I say, God, is T.D. Jakes on the level? God says, no, he's not. I go, God, is Creflo Dollar on the level? God goes, no, he's not. That's why they eliminated the oracle, so you could not out those criminals in office. But we have an ignorant society of people who don't know what's up and what's down. So they give their money to these people, these crooks and these charlatans, and enrich them. And while enriching them, these crooks and these charlatans remove the power away from these people. They don't teach these people about their own God state within, their own ability to manifest wonders. Creflo is an extremely evil man. T.D. Jakes is an extremely evil man. If I have, I'll give you an example. If I have a daughter, right, who, of course, will be as cute as me, and every day she had to walk to school, or she's in the university, right, and she would have to walk down this dark alley with her books. And let's say I gave her a mace or a gun, and I told her that this dark alley has some very seedy people, so protect yourself, because I can't be there to protect her. Now, let's say one day I go up to her and I say, you don't need these powerful things. Give me back that mace. Give me back that gun. Just believe in me. Walk down that dark street on your way to your class. And she walks down that dark street and then she gets raped. And she's not able to defend herself because I took away her power, the gun and the mace. We see T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar are doing the same thing. You see, they're telling you they're tied with them. And they're telling you that they're the only ones that can communicate with God on your behalf. They're taking away your power and they're sending you into the world to get screwed up the butt. Instead of them telling you, you have the ability to manipulate reality. You have the ability to manifest heaven on earth. You don't have to wait to the afterlife to be happy and rich and wealthy. So they lie to you and tell you that they're the only ones that can get you to where you need to go, and that they're the power, and they're the only ones that understand the Bible. That's the same thing as me sending my daughter into a dark hallway to get to class without any means to defend herself. That's an evil person. That's an evil father. Do you see what I'm saying? Why these men are evil? I don't know why we as a society cannot see that. Why we can't see that? Why we continually give them money when they don't need the money? When you have two homes, two vacation homes and one main home, you don't need money from a congregation. But it's not about T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar. It's about the legitimization of a white Jesus that's hiding behind all of this as the root psychology, which is keeping them there in that religious institution because they worship the white male archetype. And the proxy to get there is T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar. Because these men have been legitimized by the white oligarchy. These religions of Christianity and Islam and Judaism and Catholicism has enslaved and killed indigenous people over the entire globe. These religions are not for you to be following and worshiping. You should be doing everything in your power to bring those religions down. You understand? You do not venerate these religions. You venerate your religion where the God looks like you. Osir looks like you. Heru is the oldest living god on the planet. The oldest living god on the planet. He was the oldest god worship in Africa. Joseph Campbell said it best. He says that there is going to be a price to be paid for what these ministers are doing, misleading and lying to people. God will not tolerate what they have been doing. You think Maat's going to sit there and allow you to follow evil? To financially support evil? The Black community has the biggest disparity in terms of wealth with the white community. In other words, Black people don't have money. And these pimp pastor preachers prey on that. They know you don't have money, and they go to the most poor and impoverished to take your last dime, your last dollar. There are wealthy people, wealthy white people that they could be going and getting money from to fund their congregation, but they're not going to go to those wealthy white people because those wealthy white people are too smart. So they go to you and sell you on prosperity ministry, fill you full of hopes and false dreams. And you buy into it, forsaking your own spiritual religion, your own spiritual science of the Asar Set religion. Meanwhile, the Black women in the congregation, and most of the women, the white women too, white trash women, having babies by multiple baby daddies, can't get married out of wedlock, health is deteriorating, overweight, teeth all messed up. But the pimp pastor ministers don't call this out. They don't tell them that, listen, you women, you women, you shouldn't be having babies out of wedlock. You should be wearing weaves. You shouldn't be obese. Your mouth is foul. They don't do that because they want to say anything possible to keep the money coming in. Just keep the money coming in, because they know that the biggest contributors to their church is the women. And the women don't want to hear that they are wrong. They want to blame it on everything else except themselves. I can't get a man because no man can handle me. I'm too independent. I'm too strong. Set, Isis, our beautiful goddess, never went around talking about she's too strong. Sarah can't handle her. That's ridiculousness. She sat back and let Sarah lead. In fact, she told Sarah, you lead, and I'm going to take care of our son Heru and prepare her for kingship. You understand? We have lost our ability to understand how to use magic because these con men have robbed you of that knowledge. They don't want you to know how to use the magic that's within you. They don't want you to know how to use mantras. So the other day, when some preacher talked about how meditation is evil, I like to put my foot up his ass for saying something stupid as that. When every doctor knows that meditation reduces stress, helps alleviate hypertension, It raises your IQ level. Promotes healthy heart. And makes you less emotional, less manipulative, and less controlling. Let's get things straight now. Let's focus on our spirituality. Let's focus on our power. Let's awaken our power so we can do wonders here on this planet. You're a powerful, powerful beings, and you don't know it. Instead, you run to these pimp pastor ministers because you think they know something. They don't know crap. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma and Tahuti. My aunt is a beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.